Skopos is Siege's newest defender, and she's basically a teleporter. She accomplishes this by piloting 2 robots. She can only pilot one at a time, and must swap between them interchangeably. The active controllable one plays more or less like a normal operator, whereas the idle one becomes a cross between a deployable shield and a bulletproof camera. If the active one dies, Skopos is out for the count and is essentially dead, no matter if her other one is still alive. This ability has brought a lot of new exciting possibilities to the game, and so today we're going to be discussing how you should play Skopos. First off, we must discuss her loadout. Skopos is, to my knowledge, the only other character besides Blitz who only has one primary option and one secondary option, meaning that whether you like it or not, you are stuck with both the P229 pistol and the new assault rifle, the PCX-33. Fortunately for Skopos players, these weapons are pretty fantastic. The pistol isn't really anything special, but the new AR has pretty decent fire rate with little to no recoil and pretty moderate damage. It feels really nice to use. As far as secondary gadgets go, she has access to either impact grenades or prox alarms. Given the nerf that came this season to proc sims, I would recommend bringing the impacts as they can help out with the roaming role that Skopos fulfills, which we will discuss in a minute. Moving on over to how you should actually go about playing Skopos, she has a multitude of different strategies that you can play out, and I've narrowed it down to what I think are the main 4, and we're going to go through them in no particular order. First up is Strat 1, the Roamer, and Anchor. This is by far the most popular use for Skopos and what most people probably thought of after finding out that she could teleport. It's pretty simple. You put one shell on site and the other one off site, and you swap between them periodically throughout the round. If your team needs a flank, swap to the roaming shell and surprise the attackers. If your team's being pressured on site, swap back to the Anchor shell and assist with the retake. A perfect example of this strat is this clip on Cafe. I quickly threw one of my shells down in Christmas to sit idle until I needed to flank. Attackers began to take the hatches and even the second floor in some rooms, and so at this point I swap over to the Roamer shell. Coming up brown stairs, I spot one on New Balk, and in typical Elusive fashion, I miss all my shots, but I managed to secure the kill with the help of the impacts. The mining player catches wind of this and then comes to refrag, but I managed to scrape the kill on her too. Me now in a panic, thinking that a third player is going to try and come and kill me, I swap back to the Anchor shell just in time to refrag my teammate and secure the final kill on the 2 attackers who had nearly taken site. This strat is pretty easy to pull off. All you need to consider is keeping your idle shell safe and ensure that it doesn't get camped or trapped with a claymore. But if your enemies aren't effective enough with their droning, then that shouldn't be a problem. In this Cafe clip, I literally brainlessly threw my idle shell down into Christmas without a second thought because I spent the whole prep phase AFK trying to join a call with my friend. Moving on to strat 2, we have what I call the 2 lives strat. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Skopos is not granted 2 lives simply because she has 2 bodies. If the controlled one dies, she dies. So the quote 2 live strat is more so the 2 health bar strat. This strat involves making an aggressive or somewhat risky play with the first shell, taking a big chunk of damage, and then swapping back to the other body to have a full health bar once again. You might be thinking, why not just bring Doc? Well, that's because Skopos actually can't be healed by Doc stims. And then you might think, no dumbass, why not just play Doc instead of Skopos? To which I would say, that is a good point. But Skopos, despite one of her shells being on low health, can still essentially teleport across the map. It's just that she has to be more concerned with one of her shells being closer to death. Doc, no matter how many times he stims himself, cannot transfer his mind into a robot halfway across the map, and so Skopos still has a use even if one of the shells is near death. Strategy 3 is the cam/shield. This is literally just setting the idle shell down permanently to be used as either a shield or a camera by your teammates or yourself. This can be useful if Skopos is going to die immediately, so if you know that you're going to die, then at least put your idle shell in a place where it can get some use out of it. But obviously, ideally, you shouldn't be making a play that is destined to kill you. Other than that, setting up a shell to be used as a shield mid-round might have its uses, but this shouldn't be a full round thing. Literally just bring a shield and a bulletproof cam if that's the case. I shouldn't have to explain why this strat is kind of dumb. I don't even actually know why I properly included it in the video. And finally, strat 4, the bait and switch. This one is similar to the Roamer and Anchor, except that one of the shells is used intentionally to draw attention to itself and lure the attackers in, only to then be killed by the other shell which was defending or refragging the one that they were chasing. This is possibly the most satisfying strat to pull off. In this clip, I go for a risky spawn peek from dirt onto Jacuzzi on Clubhouse, at which point an Ash wallbangs me and tags me down to 3 HP. I run away to give myself some time to swap, hear her chasing me down dirt, and TP away as quickly as possible, which means that I get to fight another day. Upon TPing back to site, I get an idea, and so I go and peek main stairs onto the entrance of dirt that the Ash just made. I see that she eventually found my idle shell and murdered the poor bastard in cold blood. Filled with rage, I prepared to avenge my fallen brother once she emerged from dirt, at which point she did, and I fashionably missed half a clip on her before finally killing her. There's something indescribable about watching someone essentially kill you and then killing them immediately after. This strat is a little harder to pull pull off as it relies on the attacker's desire to come and kill your shell. And if you, like me, can't save your shell in time, then it's essentially sacrificing your TP ability for a kill or two. Maybe worth it, maybe not, but it is undeniably very satisfying. Moving on now, we have some more general quick pointers and tricks to keep in mind while you're playing Skopos, no matter what strat you are opting for. The first is that if you see that the glass has been shattered on your idol shell, swapping to it is likely a very bad idea, since it means that the attackers have found it and decided not to kill it. That can usually only mean one of two things. Either they are stupid, or they're not actually stupid, but they're hoping that you are. And either an attacker or a claymore is patiently waiting for you to make the mistake of TPing into their arms. The second tip is that, as shown in a couple of these clips throughout the video, swapping shells is a good way to peel away from when the attacking pressure is getting too much. Attackers might be swarming you left and right to take you out, but if you get a spare couple of seconds, you can just TP away and make all their time and efforts be for nothing. Of course, they may get the kill on your idol shell, but at least they didn't get the kill on you. And finally is to keep in mind the quirks that Skopos has, given that her characters aren't human. That being stuff like immunity to smoke and Fenrir's gas, or the fact that they can't be stimmed or pick up rook armor, and so it may be best to leave certain characters out of the team lineup if Skopos is coming along. Now we're going to recap everything we've gone over in this video. First off, impact grenades are more likely to be useful to Skopos in my opinion over the proc alarms. Having a roaming and an anchoring shell is essentially the default way to play Skopos, and so attackers will likely be expecting it. For that reason, ensure that you're keeping your idol shell safe by periodically checking its camera to ensure that it hasn't been found by attackers. Other than that, swap to the roamer shell to pull off flanks and aggressive plays, and swap back to the anchor to assist your other anchors in holding down or retaking site. The 2 health bar strategy is probably too risky for most players, as you can't ensure that you won't die in the process, so maybe consider combining this with the shield cam strat by preparing your idol shell for the worst case scenario of you dying and placing it in a spot where your remaining teammates might be able to get some use out of it after you die. However, should you manage to actually survive the risky play with the 2 health bar strat, maybe combine it with the bait and switch strat to attempt to get a kill in return for all the health that your shell took. My closing thoughts about Skopos overall is that she's a character very much built around creativity and adaptation. These 4 strats can be used in any multitude of combinations throughout a round, and the combinations you choose should be tied to whatever push the attackers opt for. Skopos is uniquely positioned as the only operator who can essentially be in 2 places at once, which makes her perfect for adapting to situations as they arise. Likewise, she gets to choose where those 2 locations are, which is where the creativity aspect comes in. The more clever and unexpected you get with your shell placements, the higher the likelihood of success in a given round. That's all I have for Skopos, but if you'd like a similar comprehensive guide for Deimos, Siege's current newest attacker, click the video you see on screen now. Thank you all for watching. Please do remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. I will catch you all in the next video.